There we go. Hello. Thank you for clicking on. It is Doofus After Dark, a special time here, 8 o'clock, 8:05 actually, Eastern Daylight Time. I had everything all set up and hit the wrong button and lost everything and had to reset quickly. Thankfully, history allowed me to do that. Uh, That's odd. It showed me as both the host and as the channel. Hi, GA. Ginger Snap. Again, thank you, everybody. Was there anybody posted up here before me? Okay, good. Didn't miss anybody. We are going to be, I'm going to be doing a couple of things tonight. We're going to be focusing on a couple of things. We are awaiting the return of Donald Trump to Mar-a-Lago. He is going to be speaking there. We will have his remarks. You might notice I'm not back in the studio. I'm out here where I can monitor the old laptop. I can monitor my TV, and we're going to be keeping an eye on the storms tonight, as well as monitoring what happens with Donald Trump. I'm going to comment on that in just a minute. Just want to jump over here to Reed Timmer real quickly. I've got Ryan Hall on also monitoring Ryan Hall. Reed is live at, he's in Adair, Illinois on a supercell, as you can see, tornado warning, and trying to get in position to intercept a massive base and wall cloud, as you may be able to see here. And again, this is Reed Timmer, also monitoring Ryan Hall, y'all, as we do for weather in general. But Reed's the man, in my opinion, is when it comes to actually getting on tornadoes. One other thing before I hop back over here to the chat, as we await Donald Trump, the sun and the pole shift attacking our brains. We talk a lot on here about the solar potential dangers of solar activity. We talk on here about how the poles are shifting, and I don't like the way that's. We talk on here about how the poles are shifting. Suspicious Observers has a paper and about a 8-minute episode on the effects of geomagnetic activity variations on the psychology, or the physiology and the psychology state of functionally healthy humans. Some results. The studies were in Azerbaijan, Jani. It depends, Azerbaijana or Azerbaijani. But anyway, that's where this particular set of studies was conducted. So, as you know, the poles are shifting. The mainstream media isn't talking about it at all. And the North Pole is, we monitor that pretty heavy through, thanks to Gene at Navstar Observatory. The Southern Pole is also migrating from where it traditionally has been and almost over to Australia. They're both going in the same way, which, in my opinion, and others, as they go closer together, it just widens the potential holes that solar activity can seep through. So if you're susceptible, just be aware that if you start feeling odd, weird, you're not sure why, it could be because of electromagnetic. Geomagnetic activity, which transfers to electromagnetic activity within inside your all of our bodies. And So I just wanted to make everybody aware of that before we got started with everything else here tonight. We are expecting Donald Trump to speak at 8:15. So we're still about 5 minutes away, according to according to schedule anyway. Um, and um, since we've got a couple of minutes, I'm gonna. Okay, we've got uh, Reed's on a tornado warned storm. Reed Timbers on a tornado. We got a tornado confirmed in Fulton County, Illinois. Um, One of the reasons I'm out here is to monitor, but also to monitor my window right over here with an opening. We got hit last week. Indiana was hit with 17 tornadoes. All of them nocturnal. Everything came at dark. Nobody could see any of them coming. You can only see them if you happen to be out and happens to be a flash of light, lightning, or hitting a power line. And the only way you know they're coming is radar indicated most of the time when they are nocturnal. Very dangerous situations. We had 17 of them here in Indiana. Sadly, some people lost their lives, and a lot of people lost property, um, homes, everything they own. There were I don't know. I think there was 1,600 total structures damaged, and about 250 just absolutely leveled, just not in existence anymore. So if you are in the path of these storms as they proceed, um, please be careful. It looks like Marshalltown, Iowa. Uh, Looks like Scylla, Iowa, just to the east of Des Moines. Activity there, as well as, like I said, Reed Timbers on a storm. I think he's in Illinois. Um, they've got Laguna, Iowa covered, McDonald County, Illinois, Fulton County, Illinois. So potential storms in all those areas if you happen to be in those areas. Hello, hello, Josie. Hello, Christine M. How are you? Hi, Chrissy. Again, thank you all for clicking on. We are awaiting the. Let me flip over on the monitor section. We're okay. They're just discussing. He's not talking yet, so I'll do my little discussion. I did an episode earlier today. We covered the Trump indictment in New York City. We're covering his statements tonight, um, and I said some things on the episode this afternoon, including a lot of people aren't going to like this, but I personally don't feel like what I heard was a very strong case. This is just my personal opinion. I've talked to a couple of people. That's one of the reasons I jumped off so early. I wanted to kind of dive into all of this and talk to a couple of attorneys. Um, there was a lot of anticipation that there would be much more than what has been made public. Um, Possibly trying to tie this into conspiratorial, that this is one step in a bigger picture. Uh, I don't know if that was the case. When you deal with legal activities, you go by the letter of the law, and for those that for those that would give anything to see Donald Trump in handcuffs marched into a jail cell for an extended period of time, I just don't think what happened today is going to lead to anything close to that. Um, Matter of fact, my prediction is it's going to be just the opposite. it's going to have just the opposite effect, because there's basically what was presented today was, um, while it was wrong, while it is nefarious, it's sleazy, it's underhanded, it is activities that, in my opinion, would preclude anyone from holding public office. Um, I don't know if the actual legalities are going to match up. Okay, and while things are often, um, we want to see things a certain way, and things do not always work out the way that people would like to see them happen. Um, so, with that being said, it leads to me to question why did they do this? Um, it's it it is 7 years old. It has been in the district attorney's office for a long time. Um, is it is what he did wrong? Yes, without a doubt. Um, if things were the way they should be, would he be punished for what he did? Yes, without a doubt. We're dealing with, like it or not, a former person who was the president of the United States and is currently an active candidate to hold that office again. Um, I said on the stream this afternoon, the district attorney from Manhattan had to have his ducks in a row. If he brings this, there's got to be teeth to it. There's got to be a there. And as it all unfolded this afternoon, and you probably heard me, I'm not sure. I'm not sure this is this is a good idea. Um, in my opinion, this blows up, and it doesn't blow up into a massive criminal thing. It blows up into, um, why did this happen? And subsequently, that has the potential to cloud the two federal cases of the insurrection and of the documents, classified documents that uh, he had in Mar-a-Lago, possibly still has in Mar-a-Lago. There are still documents missing, um, and the Georgia election case. It just puts something in some people's head. Um, so I don't know. This is just my opinion, but I don't know if what happened today was a good thing. And that's just, we do this show, um, and despite individual feelings, we run the show as much as possible most of the time, down the middle. We get off the rail a little bit to have fun with people and poke a little bit, but generally, when we talk about serious stuff, as we often do on here, a lot of times we're talking about things nobody else is talking about. Um, in this case, though, um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what other people think. Um, I'm just trying to look at it absolutely objectively, and in my opinion, in my opinion, I'm not sure this should have been done. There, I don't know. The chat may be lighting up that I'm wrong, and that's okay. I want everybody to have their own opinions, um, but I just don't know if this is history. This is historic. I talked about this earlier. The only president or former president that has ever been arrested was Ulysses S. Grant, and that was for speeding in his horse-drawn carriage. And upon his arrest, he admitted that he had done wrong and he should have been stopped and paid the fine. We've got 34 counts of falsifying business records. Bad things, especially in Manhattan, in New York City, the heart of the business world, if you will, definitely the heart of commerce and exchange in the United States. So making sure business is conducted properly is a pretty big responsibility and something that should be taken seriously. Elevating 34 counts of business misdealing and elevating it from misdemeanors to felonies, E-level felonies. It puts the justifiable label criminal felon defendant Donald Trump. But how long is that label? I honestly, I don't know how long this case. I don't know if this case will get thrown out or not. I think there's got to be something more, and it just hasn't been presented yet. Keep in mind the Manhattan District Attorney. He said we're going to take the whole month of April off, if you remember this. And then 2 days later, there was an indictment. So he presented what he presented today. If that is all there is, in my opinion, it's not enough. It's not going to do anything but potentially invigorate his base even more, in my opinion. But if there's something more, if there's something more, if there's more to come, but otherwise, I don't know. So we'll just have to wait and see. And of course, we are waiting right now to see what Donald Trump is going to say. They're talking about the tornadoes right now. Another round of thunderstorms today. Same area impacted over the weekend that killed 32 people. Yeah. So again, when we got hit, it was I don't know, about 11:45 when the siren went off. Actually, that night I was just about asleep, which is a rarity at that time. But I didn't do a show that night, and normally Doofus Dog is up here laying next to me, and I don't know if she's sensing something or what, but she's already laying back in the hallway, which is where we go when there are storms. So again, we are awaiting Donald Trump to speak. In the meantime, let's hop back over and see what Reed is doing. And then I'll hop into the chat for a minute. If anybody has any questions or comments, go ahead and get them in there. I'll be over there in just a couple of seconds here, a couple of minutes. Again, Reed is in Adair, Illinois. His target is Augusta, supercell in Augusta. This is what is right over here, and let's listen. Wait a minute. There we go. Let's listen in.
The trees. I fell on the hill whenever I slipped. I ate it and I got back up.
Ask him if he's okay. You guys have balls to be able to do that, man. To be able to do that is absolute balls. That, to experience that was the craziest thing I think I ever did. Not knowing where the tornadoes
I nailed it. Yeah, I knew where it was.
The car blowing.
So evidently, they've intercepted.
That was the craziest thing in the world. Look at this place. It all got decimated. The whole entire place got decimated.
It's a weak tornado at least. The structures are okay.
Is that a place got hit right there?
No, I think that's a beaten down building.
They're excited. They've seen a tornado.
They got it ripping up pretty well. I'll have to look back later through my other clips because I definitely was filming on the right when I saw it.
Again, if you're just joining us, thanks for clicking on. It is American Dufus channel, Dufus After Dark.
I'm trying not to be as pissed.
And we're currently riding with Reed Timmer, Dr. Reed Timmer, and on a tornado chase. We are awaiting Donald Trump. We will have his remarks and questions, and he's about to come in. So I'm going to switch over to there.
To announce their own presidential bids. Donald Trump is looking to put pressure on other Republicans to join him and come to his defense, suggesting this is political persecution, that it's not just about him, but they're coming after the MAGA movement and the conservative movement.
Former President Donald Trump taking the stage now for these remarks.
Let's listen in.
Wait a minute. What happened? Why is this buffering? What's going on here? Some reason NBC's buffering on me. Okay, he's not speaking yet. He's just making his way up there. This is a bunch of crap. Let me refresh real quick. And of course, we'll have a commercial. Oh, great. It's on the old laptop working fine. Give me a second here. For some reason, it's not playing. Okay, I'm gonna close Reed down. I hate to do that, but he's just now taking the podium. Okay, I gotta farge. Yeah. I'm gonna turn him up down here if I can. As I find somewhere else. Hang with me for just a second, or if not, I don't blame you.
From the beginning, the Democrats spied on my campaign. Remember that? They attacked me with an onslaught of fraudulent investigations. Russia, Russia, Russia. Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. Impeachment hoax number 1. Impeachment hoax number 2. The illegal,
I don't know what the deal is, folks.
Unconstitutional raid on Mar-a-Lago, right here. The lying to the FISA courts, the FBI and DOJ relentlessly pursuing Republicans, the unconstitutional changes to election laws by not getting approvals from state legislators, the millions of votes illegally stuffed into ballot boxes are all caught on government cameras. And just recently, the FBI and DOJ, in collusion with Twitter and Facebook, in order not to say anything bad about the Hunter Biden laptop from hell, which exposes the Biden family as criminals, in which according to the pollsters, would have made a 17-point difference in the election result. And we needed a lot less than that, like about 16.9. It would have been in our favor, not my favor, our favor, because our country is going to hell. Intelligence agents who said Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. Didn't exist. It was Russian disinformation. Remember that? And that was all confirmed strongly by the FBI when they all knew that it wasn't Russian disinformation. And so much more.
I really don't know what's going on, folks. I'm trying to get a stream up, and everywhere I pull up, even the ads are not playing.
The radical left, George Soros,
so I'm guessing this is somehow
who campaigned on the fact that he would
YouTube keeping things from
I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him
from showing.
Campaigning. You want to get President Trump at any cost, and this before he knew anything about me, didn't know a thing about me. He was campaigning. As it turns out, virtually everybody that has looked at this case, including rhinos and even hardcore Democrats, say there is no crime and that it should never have been brought. Never have been brought. Everybody. Even people that aren't big fans have said it. They said this is not the right thing to do. It's an insult to our country, as the world is already laughing at us for so many other reasons, like our open borders, our incompetent withdrawal from Afghanistan, where we left behind American citizens, $85 billion worth of the best military equipment in the world, lost 13 magnificent young lives, and far too many to mention that are so badly hurt with the loss of arms and legs and facial obliteration. The most embarrassing time in our country's history, in my opinion. Then our give up on energy independence and even energy dominance. We're going to be dominant within 6 months, more than any other nation times 2. We had this all just 3 years ago. Our raging crime statistics, if you look in Democrat-run cities, numbers the likes of which we have never seen before, the open threats by various countries of the use of nuclear weapons, something never mentioned or discussed by outside nations during the Trump administration, and which would very well lead under the Biden administration's leadership to an all-out nuclear World War III can happen. We're not very far away from it, believe it or not. An economy that has been crippled by the biggest inflation we have seen in more than 60 years, and a military that I used to defeat ISIS in 4 weeks. They said it would take 4 years. 4 weeks. To kill al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, that has now gone woke at the top levels.
Come on now,
I'm not going to indoctrinate everyone down to the lowest ranking patriot. But now they have really stepped up their efforts by indicting the 45th president of the United States, who received $75 million votes, which is more than any sitting president in the history of our country.
But it wasn't more than the guy that won. Let's keep that in mind. If anybody's still watching, I'm so
Democrat district attorney in
freaking
Atlanta,
pissed.
who is doing everything in her power to indict
I'm even
me
trying Fox,
over an
and Fox is sitting here spinning.
call, even more perfect than the one I made with the president of Ukraine. Remember, I kept saying that's a perfect call. This one was more perfect. Nobody said, sir, you shouldn't say that. Many people on the phone, or hung up in disgust because of something I inappropriately said.
Go somewhere else, everybody.
In fact, at the end of the call, we agreed to continue our conversation about election fraud.
If you haven't already.
Election fraud, specifically in Georgia. at a later time. Many people on the phone, including lots of lawyers, nobody found anything wrong with that perfect call until a book promotion tour many months later. All of a sudden they say, I remember Trump making a call. Let's look at that. This fake case was brought only to interfere with the upcoming 2024 election, and it should be dropped immediately. Then you have a radical left lunatic known as a bomb thrower who is harassing hundreds of my people day after day over the boxes hoax. The boxes hoax, as we call it.
Let's see.
Just so everyone knows, I come under what's known
I get
as
it.
the
I give up.
Presidential Records
I
Act,
quit.
which was designed and approved by Congress long ago just for this reason.
Let's see if we can do this.
Under the act, I'm supposed to negotiate with NARA, the National Archives and
You're not supposed to
Records
negotiate with
Administration,
anybody.
which
You're not
as
the
of this date
president
is a
anymore.
radical left troublemaking organization that red flags the Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights as dangerous and triggering. Can you imagine?
Let's see if we can
This
do this.
is what we have to deal with.
So it's at least on
But
there.
there is no criminality under the Presidential Records Act. That is not what it's all about. We were negotiating in very good faith,
Solve the
proper
freaking
way,
problem,
in order
even
to
if it's
return some or all of the documents
absolute
that I
worst way to do it.
openly and in very plain sight
Yeah.
brought with me to Mar-a-Lago from our beautiful White House, just as virtually every other president has done in the past.
Okay, we've been listening into the
FBI
former
and
president as he
DOJ
makes remarks at Mar-a-Lago. We initially took this event thinking he was going to talk about the indictment today, being charged with 34 felony counts in Manhattan. It has turned into a speech of a list of grievances and, of course, some falsehoods. The notes I have made so far talking about an unconstitutional search at Mar-a-Lago for those documents, which was not true, and a lot of election mistruths about what happened to him in the 2020 election.
It feels like a speech that he would deliver at a campaign rally, largely because that is the vibe of what we're seeing here at Mar-a-Lago. The grievances that he aired that we have heard before again and again, rehashing some of these election conspiracy theory lies, and then moving on to these attacks against Alvin Bragg and talking about how he says everybody who looked at this case says there's no crime and it should never have been brought. That is clearly not the case. The Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg thinks there is a case here. That is why he has brought this. He is referencing, it sounds like, some of his allies on Capitol Hill and elsewhere in the party who are backing him up to say that this is, in their view, political persecution of a current presidential candidate. It's an opportunity really here for Donald Trump to make his case as to, as we talked about right at the start of this, why he pleaded not guilty today. We so far have not heard that case, as he has made the turn now to other investigations in front of him, including, of course, that special counsel investigation on classified documents.
Yeah, we also want to let you know, the viewers at home, that if he starts to talk about this case once again, we will dip back in. But as Hallie mentioned, it sort of turned into a campaign speech. And again, a lot of falsehoods coming out from the former president. I do want to bring in our White House correspondent, Chief White House Correspondent Kristen Welker, who covered the president on the campaign trail, covered the president in the White House, and is here tonight. I will say this, Kristen, one thing I did notice, watching him walk into that Mar-a-Lago banquet room, the crowd went wild. They loved him. And the first thing I thought of was 2016. He had that 23% to 27% core Republican audience that stayed with him. The MAGA crowd is still alive. It clearly was there. You see the people taking the selfies with the hats. He still has this base that is still very, very strong. And I was thinking, I don't know if there's another Republican, I'd argue, I don't know if there's another Democrat who has that type of fervor behind them right now.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And it was alive and well and on display in Mar-a-Lago as he walked out. And that base of support sort of stays within that margin that you just talked about, Tom. Think about the contrast between him walking out at Mar-a-Lago and what we saw at the courthouse, which was essentially protesters on both sides, those who support him, those who are opposed to him. They were largely peaceful. We want to make that point. What struck me about tonight is that it really feels like a preview of what we're going to see on the campaign trail. A list of his greatest hits of grievances, as you say, and he added one more to that list. Sure. That's effectively what we are seeing. Why is that significant? I spoke with a top Republican prior to this indictment who said, we're not hearing anything new from the former president on the campaign trail. When is he going to introduce something new? This indictment, in many ways, gives him something new to talk about.
This sounded like the speech in Waco. It sounded almost carbon copy, the speech in Waco.
Part of this is intentional because before this campaign even began, we were talking to sources who told us, all of us here, that this was likely going to be a 2016 redux writ large in the campaign. There is something that he did say that I think if you're looking for something that is relevant to the next legal steps here, I think it's important. He said this case should be immediately dropped. And we know that his attorneys seem likely to try to want to file a motion to discharge. I want to bring in not just Gabe Gutierrez, who's been posted up at that courtroom all day, but our senior legal correspondent, Laura Jarrett, and one of our NBC News legal analysts, Danny Savalos, as well. When he says something like this case should be dropped immediately, Laura, we know that his attorneys will likely pursue that avenue, right?
Yeah, they're obviously going to file a motion to dismiss the charges as soon as possible. And part of the reason they're going to do that is the way that Alvin Bragg has decided to bring this case. We had all thought, based on our reporting, that there would be a falsification of business records charge. And the one question we all had was, how are you going to bump it up to a felony? It now appears that his theory for how you bump it up to a felony is by using a federal election violation. At least that's part of it. He also throws in a mix of conspiracy and some tax issues there. But the federal piece of this is why you're going to see Trump's attorneys immediately try to go into federal court and say this entire thing is preempted by federal law. This should never have been brought into state court. It doesn't belong in state court. Throw it out before it even goes to a jury.
Danny, we know that former president really listens to only one person, and that is himself. If you were advising him and you told him to sort of take it easy before the speech, could he say anything tonight or in the future that could hurt him in this case?
Of course, and he would not be the first defendant to get himself into trouble after he's indicted by opening his mouth. This is something we tell clients all the time. Since time immemorial, we've advised clients, don't talk after you've been charged with a crime. And since time immemorial, they've ignored that advice and done things their way, which is why they had to get a lawyer in the first place, because they do things their way. Trump is no exception, whether it's Trump giving remarks at a speech or at a podium, or a client who goes to jail and talks on a recorded line. Happens all the time. I guarantee everyone here at this table knows a story like that, where criminal defendants get themselves into more trouble than they were in to begin with. The only thing unusual here would be that it's a former president doing it. But make no mistake about it, the DA's office is hoping, even though they gave that speech today in court, hey, look, we're worried about what he's saying out there. We're worried about his words causing harm. I think if they were being honest, they would say, we love him tweeting. Tweeting is great for us. Sooner or later, he'll say something ridiculous and we'll use it against him. This is a good thing for them that Trump is Trump.
I will say what we've seen from the former president so far in these remarks here, and it is unsurprising given the audience in the room, is the way that he is feeding off of the energy of the people in that space. A far friendlier turf than he was on earlier today. When, Gabe, you saw this yourself as somebody who was stationed there at the courthouse, it was a different tone, a different attitude from Donald Trump. He was much more somber. He had just previously, in the minutes prior to us seeing him in court, figured out and seen, right, been given the indictments, the actual charges against him.
Yeah, that's right, Hallie. I mean, we were expecting former President Trump potentially to perhaps speak to cameras as he walked into the courtroom, did not do that. You saw the look on his face. He was extremely somber, and it was a place that he wasn't used to being. This wasn't, a reality show that, he could direct. There were no cameras in that courtroom, only still photographers that had been there right before the arraignment. So it was an arraignment unlike any that I had ever seen. Of course, you had to walk up through a lot of security on the first floor to get to the 15th floor, 2 sets of metal detectors. He was flanked by Secret Service agents as he walked in that room. And what Danny was referencing, yes, the prosecution was asking for a potential protective order as we move forward in this case. And there's so many implications here, Hallie, because as this discovery process moves forward, the prosecution was worried that some of this evidence, could be leaked by the former president, could be posted on social media. But I thought what the judge did was very interesting. He tried to walk a fine line here. He did say that the First Amendment issues here, the free speech issues here from a current presidential candidate are crucial. And so he paid attention to that. And so he told both sides to be very careful with their rhetoric. But he did say it was charged rhetoric. And he said that he did not want the former president to use any language that could incite violence. to be fair, he said that warning for both sides, but it was the prosecution bringing up those previous threats that put this up in the first place. So it should be interesting to see. I wanted to see in this speech, and I hadn't heard it yet, he did mention DA Bragg, but he has so far not brought up the judge. And over the last several weeks, he had said, I'm posting on social media that this judge hates me. So far in the speech, he didn't mention that. Should be interesting to see once he gets past those grievances, whether he does bring up the judge.
Yeah, I think it's such a good point, Gabe. Gabe and I had the opportunity to question former President Trump's attorneys after the legal proceedings today, and we were both asking them the same question. Have you told your client not to post inflammatory comments on social media, not to make inflammatory comments against the judge, against the DA? And they sort of dismissed the questions outright, tried to dodge them. But the bottom line is, exactly, this is a clear concern for them for the reasons that Danny and Laura lay out.
I want to bring in Chuck Todd now, our political director and moderator of Meet the Press, of course. And Chuck, I was just observing something, having watched the speech in Waco and now watching this speech. And it seems like the former president's new strategy is very off-brand, right? When he first ran for office, he was on the offense, right? Build the wall, lock her up, the system is rigged. And now he's playing Trump the victim. And I just wonder, he has this list of grievances. He's starting his speeches out this way. If that's going to be effective for him, because it almost sounds at times like he is complaining.
Gonna see if we can
he first burst onto the political scene. He was on the attack, and he was sort of showing strength. And now it's much, much different.
See if we can.
Look, I wrote down a phrase. This sounds whiny, and he did. He just came across. Frankly,
Okay. See if we can't find another broadcasting venue here. I apologize. I apologize for both not being able to pull something up, and I apologize for getting upset about it. But I get upset when I'm trying to do something and things beyond my control are hindering me from doing so. But I guess maybe it worked out because all of a sudden he quit talking, and I'm gonna see if we can't pull something up here. At least the ads are working. Here we go. All right, we'll go back and see if we can't. We're going to click on NBC News and see if it will continue to play. Thank you all for sticking, those of you that did so and continue to do so. You guys must be having a good chat. Okay, now, why is it not? There we go. Okay, it is buffering. NBC was buffering. And again, it kind of turned in, we were wanting to see what he was going to say about what happened today. And I'm guessing he took the advice of his legal counsel and didn't say a whole lot about what happened today in order to protect himself and to let his legal team do what they do. Let me see if we can listen in here without getting shut down. No, why can't I turn the volume up and I don't know what's up. I really don't know what's up. It was great until I brought it up onto the stream, and all my streams are running. Everything's connected. This is weird. This is weird. It runs fine, except when I'm sharing it. Now it won't run. Okay, I put it back down and it's fine. I pull it up and it just buffers. Yeah, they cut away from it. It looks like most of the networks have cut away from it because a lot of the things that he says are election denying and thus false and will get you taken down. Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe that's why all these, but that's not what happened. That's not what's happening because it's still playing on my old laptop. What I'm using as a monitor, and this is weird. This is weird. Let me see if I can even find somebody that's still playing it. I don't know. Maybe it's just there's so many people trying to watch that the bandwidth's being eaten up. I don't know. This is live now from Fox, and the commercials aren't even playing. It's just sitting there spinning. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Take my coat off there. Let's go back and I'll monitor that. And in the meantime, we'll peek in here with Ryan Hall. Oakley. And now Ryan Hall's not even. The chats are rolling. Something's going on. Something is going on here. Get up here if you want. Come on, if you want to get up here. Get up there now. Let me see if I can get. I can't. Let me see if I can get Reed Timmer up. This is weird. This is really strange. I'm still on. All of my lines are, all my connections are there. For some reason, it is not connecting here in my Restream studio. CNN just broke him off too. I think that's from Mike. Watched it on C-SPAN, worked great. He's done. His speech is over, so there'll be all the analysis coming up. He's walking and waving. Let me see if one of my weather, nothing, all the chats are working. It's just not streaming. Let me shut everything down and start over. This is weird. Again, thank you all that are out there. Donald Trump has finished his statement. He is exiting stage right at Mar-a-Lago. Basically, we heard the entire speech, but didn't get to see but just the first couple of seconds there, and then all of my feeds, everything froze up. Trying to download anything from YouTube froze up on me, but it's still functioning on the old laptop. So I don't know. Something's wrong. And I'm not sure what it is. I'll show you what it looks like. Matthew McConaughey commercial just spinning. Chat's moving. And it's happening every channel I go to. Reed Timmer. Okay. Bloomington, Illinois area. Street or Pontiac. Wait a minute. Is that? I think this is Central Illinois, but I'm not sure. Let me see if I can go back and at least monitor over here and talk a little bit while. Okay, Ryan Hall's on over there on my monitor, but won't play here. That's that could be troubling there. Okay, I thought I lost the whole thing. All right. Ryan Hall is it's functioning on my other laptop. Computer doesn't want me to hear anything. Shut it down and restart. All right. I'm going to pop this off here real quick, and I'll restart the stream and see what happens. Yeah,